What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you all for tuning in. It's your boy Matty B, and we are kind of attending the Under the Weather National. Had an insanely long week at Loretta Lynn's, burnt the candle at both ends, then grabbed another one and torched that thing too. But sometimes you'll have that on those bigger jobs, it's in the contract, and it's not too much to stop us from previewing Ironman today. For round 9 of Pro Motocross, which will be firing back into life this weekend after a few weeks off. And since it's at Ironman, today we'll dive into a little bit of Motocross of Nations talk. There's been a few changes in management, and we'll talk about a possible team that I think will kick ass. Then we've got a new deal for Hayden Deegan, and now there's no more need for speculation as his future for 2026 is signed, sealed, and delivered. Then I'll touch on a little bit of Loretta Lynn's silly season action, and we'll talk about one of the standouts, Enzo Temmerman, won 5 of the 6 Pro Sport motos, but somehow has no deal lined up. And then there's a few young and up-and-coming kids that are being looked at by some of the top teams in the sport. And speaking of Loretta Lynn's, a lot of chatter about that place over the last week, and I've actually seen quite a few rumors about myself, and that apparently they have asked me to not show any crashing. So we'll do a quick little dive into that and try to clear up any misconceptions. But then back to the pros, and we're going to have a few guys out of action this weekend, but then we're also going to have a few guys back in action this weekend. We'll go over the new riders on the entry list heading into Ironman, and the amateurs will continue to try to keep their momentum going that they may or may not have gained at Lorettas, because we got a combine this weekend, and it is a stacked national. And of course, last but not least, I'll hit you with the track preview and the predictions. I've got some GoPro footage from my last time at Ironman, and good thing I've got video, because I don't remember the lap at all. Went to Indonesia harder than I've ever been before, got up, straightened out the unit, and then went to the top of the board in the B practice. But shortly after, I realized we were at the Concussion National, felt like I was in a virtual reality video game, and I pulled her in, spent an hour and a half in the A-Stars medic rig, and that was all she wrote. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and today's video is brought to you by my channel sponsors. Thank you to ASV Inventions and Sirius Studio. I've got links and discount codes in my description, and if you're supporting them, you're supporting me. No choice. Let's get into it. First up, we'll talk about this year's Motocross of Nations upcoming in October of 2025, and this year, it's at Ironman, baby, USA. Should be a great track for it, great atmosphere. I'm sure there'll be tons of fans. Nobody has a choice. But one big change heading into this year's Motocross of Nations is longtime team manager for the USA, Roger DeCoster, has now stepped down. And Roger's getting up there in age, he's getting old, so we had to know this was coming sooner or later. But either way, it's a pretty big changing of the guard. Roger DeCoster and Team USA have been pretty synonymous for many years. But over the last several years, Roger has kind of come under some scrutiny for the way that Team USA's been run and how they haven't quite worked together as a team as much as they had in the past. So did he leave voluntarily or did he get forced out? I'm not really sure, but now it seems the reins are going to be taken over by the AMA's Mike Pelletier. And it seems that a lot of people think that this is somebody brand new that's getting added into the mix, and that could not be further from the case. Mike has already been heavily involved behind the scenes. So now Pelletier is in charge along with Christina Denny, and then reports are coming in that the rest of the gaps will be filled by the individual team managers of the riders that have been selected. And speaking of riders that might be selected, it's looking pretty good that this year's team should consist of Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, and Hayden Deegan. And I don't know about you guys, but to me, that sounds like a team that is ready to smash. After more years than I can count of not being able to quite send our best team, I really don't think it gets any better than that. America. Next up, this was literally just announced as I was making this video, but Hayden Deegan and the Star Yamaha team have officially declared Hayden Deegan's plans for 2026, and they include a title defense in the 250 Supercross class, and then he'll be moving up and big barking a Monster Energy Star Yamaha 450 in the 450 class for Pro Motocross and SMX. And as of late, there had been a little bit of speculation as to whether he could maybe move up a little bit early and do 450 Supercross and just jump right into the deep end. But speculate no more. He's going to stay down, rake it in, probably win one more championship. And then, if everything goes right, maybe we will finally see the Jet versus Deegan battle that everybody's been creaming their pants over. Now, let's dive into a little bit of Loretta Lynn's talk. And first up, got to give a shout out to Enzo Temmerman. Won 5 out of 6 Pro Sport motos, absolutely dominated, was the obvious Horizon Award winner, but somehow has no damn ride. And to me, this is absolutely bonkers. This kid is an unreal talent. He's got the results, he's got the skill, he's got the technique, but still no deal. Now, back in the day, I swear, if you won Lorettas in the pro class, you were leaving with a deal, you were getting signed, and you were dialed. But the landscape has changed. Loretta Lynn's is no longer the one sole important race, as now they have SMX Futures, Combines, and all kinds of big races. And really, this just gives these kids more chances on the big stage to showcase their talents. And this is just one man's opinion, but I kind of think that this is more of a reflection on the older ages of all the guys in the 250 class right now. So I'm bummed for Enzo. He's got what it takes to be a top pro, and he needs a deal. But right now, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he's even been forced to drop back down and race the combine this weekend. More on that shortly. And despite Enzo being passed up after dominating the pro sport classes, there are a few young and up and coming rippers that are being looked at by some top teams from the B classes and even the super mini classes. First up is Deegan, winner of the Schoolboy 2 and 250B classes, two of the premier championships at Lorettas. And rumor has it that Deno is being scooped up by the Triumph Factory Racing team to race amateurs in the A class next year. Not sure whether the deal is going to take him into the pros or not, but if I had to guess, I would think it would because this kid is super legit. Then there's two-time champion in both of the super mini classes, Darren Pine, and Triumph's out here making a push because rumor has it that Darren Pine is also headed to Triumph to be their amateur B-class racer for next year. And currently, there is an unreal crop of kids coming up through the 85 and super mini classes because then you've got Gage Brown, who has reportedly been talking to Star Racing Yamaha, and then the poor kid who could have been two-time champ but ended up zero-time champ, Colt Martin. And I don't know anything for sure, but I do know at least one team who's also interested in Colt 47. And for now, that's all I got, but there are so many incredible young talents coming up through the ranks right now. The future of the sport is very much in good hands, and the racing at Loretta Lynn's was badass. And speaking of Loretta Lynn's, I've seen quite a few rumors about myself online and in the YouTube comments, so I figure I might as well come on here and just clear things up. And we're going to go full disclosure mode because that's how we do it around here, and I don't want to hide stuff from you guys. Before the racing started at Loretta Lynn's, I had a meeting with all the heavies at MxSports, and in the meeting, I straight up told them to their face that I'm not interested in ass kissing, I just want to tell the truth, and they didn't seem to have a problem with that, so that's what we're going to do here. Over the last week or so, I've seen and heard some pretty funny conspiracies, but the main thing I've seen is that apparently MxSports is making me no longer film or show any crashing. And for those of you saying that, I don't know if you guys actually watched my coverage from Loretta Lynn's or not, but that could not be any further from the truth. However, what they did ask me to stop doing is posting crash after crash, the crash compilations, and the two things that they said is that I was glorifying chaos and taking all the crashes out of context, and to which I replied, "You're absolutely right, that's exactly what I'm doing." I mean, let's be real. If I sit at an arena crash for 10 hours and then I put together a 1-minute crash reel of just all chaos, yeah, it's a little bit out of context. Really, you guys have no clue how much boring stuff I've sat through to get all the exciting stuff. I'm not even going to try to deny it. I have totally made a lot of those races look way more chaotic than they actually are. And as of last year, I knew that MxSports did not want that kind of stuff at their events, and I understood it. But in terms of all the other crash videos, people were loving them, and I really just had never thought of the possible negatives associated with those videos. But as the world is changing and how we live in the land of the free and the home of the lawsuit, the whole insurance deal has become a serious problem in motocross. And more than anything, I don't want to contribute to that, not even a little bit. I love motocross. I've spent my whole life eating, sleeping, and breathing it. And to put it bluntly, I just want to be a part of it. So if you guys want to hate and say I'm kissing ass, you can say whatever you want. But if I just have to make a few minor changes to stay around the sport and be able to cover it at the highest levels, I'm down to do it. And moving forward, I'm not sure if you guys are even going to see that massive of a change from me. Yeah, no more Instagram crash reels, no 30-minute crash videos or anything like that, but I can still cover arena crash, especially on the pro level. I can cover good racing, and if people crash while I'm covering the racing, then so be it. It's part of the contract. And MxSports even told me the exact same thing. If you guys watched my coverage from Loretta's, I literally did not do anything different, not even a little bit. The only thing that I had that I didn't show was the aftermath of Liam Alof having a heat stroke and being laid out on the track, and I'll be honest, that situation scared the crap out of me, and I didn't post it because I didn't know if the poor kid was okay. But guys, at the end of the day, I'm never going to give up who I am. You'll always have Matty B being Matty B. All you might see change is maybe my intros will be dialed back a little bit and no more crash compilations. But if you guys like my content and you want to see me stick around the sport, then this is what I need to do. I can make way more money covering the sport at the highest levels rather than just going to local yokel Chicken Licks Raceway Nationals. So yeah, hopefully this makes sense to you guys, but if it doesn't, go watch somebody else's video. I really don't care. Man, that kind of turned into a long winded rant national, but now back into the pros, and we got some riders that are unfortunately out of action this weekend, starting with Aaron Plessinger. And poor AP, he's caught the fatigue bug. Long season, it's a total grind. But he got blood results back, no Epstein Barr, just a little low on the cortisol levels. And it sucks. AP had really been coming on strong, and he's going to be out for these final three nationals. But I talked to him last night. He's in good spirits, and he sounds good. And he's even getting some secret next level SMX prep in by playing MX versus ATV Legends on Xbox in a UTV. And then Colt 45, apparently his thumb did two zigzags because he's got the torn UCL and he's out for the rest of the year. And this sucks, man. Colt 45 is such a good dude, one of the best dudes in the sport. He's had a little bit of a rough year coming off of injury at the beginning of Supercross. He's been building himself up all year just to tear himself back down at the very end. Get well soon, Colt. But on the flip side, we got some riders returning from injury, and I'm hyped up. Y'all remember this guy? After leading the 250SX East Region Opener earlier this year and going down in flames with a massive crash in the whoops, Pierce Brown will be returning to action this weekend after a broken back. And Star Yamaha is actually getting two of them back this weekend because also returning is Daxton Bennick. After 6 or 9 concussions, the noggin has finally buffed out and we'll get to see Dax return to action. And I'll be real with you guys, I don't think we've seen Daxton Bennick's full potential as a pro, not even close. This kid spent his entire life battling with Hayden Deegan, and he's legit. And then speaking of potential, we're also getting Jet Reynolds from the Club MX team back in action. And for those that don't know, Jet Reynolds was one of the most dominant mini-cycle racers in the history of amateur motocross, totally unstoppable, but as of late, it's been injury after injury. Right as he gets some momentum going, another one takes him down, so if Jet Reynolds can stay healthy, I truly think we could see something special out of him. And last but not least, there's been a bit of speculation on a return from two riders that have been absent from the entire Pro Motocross Championship, the first being Cole Davies. After an unbelievable Supercross season, we've never seen him do a Pro Motocross race yet, and he's also in jeopardy of slipping out of the top 20 for Super Motocross, so a return would be very valuable. And then there's Dylan Ferrandis, out all summer and not too far away from being knocked out of the Super Motocross top 20. He's currently not on the entry list for the Ironman National this weekend, but maybe we'll see him return for Unadilla or Budds Creek. And now we'll dive into the entry list for round 9 of Pro Motocross this weekend at Ironman Raceway. In the 450 class, I honestly did not see one notable name that was a new racer. But in the 250 class, like I talked about, we got Pierce Brown, Daxton Bennick, and Jet Reynolds. Carson Mumford has been on every entry list but has never raced. He's just been giving us blue balls all season, and I don't think we'll see him this weekend. Then we got Aussie, Reed Taylor, who's back in for the Club MX Yamaha team. My buddy Joey DeSanti, after a long road to getting his pro license, he finally gets to take a stab at his first ever pro national. Congratulations, brother. Then you've got an amateur out of Loretta Lynn's, Gavin Betts, and then last but not least, a big surprise to me, French racer Matisse Boromé. Dude is super legit. I believe he was the European champion several years ago. Haven't heard much from him in recent years, but once a ripper, always a ripper. You just gotta harness it. And that's not all. We got another entry list for Ironman, and that is the SMX Next Motocross Combine. And holy shnikes is this thing stacked. There is not one kid on this list that's not a ripper. And one notable thing on this list that's kind of crazy to me is Enzo Timmerman. After racing 3 pro motocross races and dominating Loretta Lynn's, he's back in for the Scouting Combine, and I can't say I blame the kid. I mean, what would you rather do? Go showcase your talents at the front of the field on an even playing field, or go back to the 250 pro motocross class on an amateur bike and just piss in the wind for 30 plus 2? I'd take the former. Plus, the kid's already raced 3 nationals, has put in some pretty good results, and still has nothing. Hate the game, not the player, no choice. And now for our final segment of today's video, we'll get into our track preview and our predictions for the Ironman National. And since the race is also holding the Motocross of Nations this year, it looks like the track has undergone some minor changes with that event in mind. Mainly, it looks like they tried to cut down the lap time a little bit. I saw a video from the Loretta Lynn's Regional, and it looked like Godzilla had been tamed down quite a bit. And then this section in the back, they've taken out a few of the S-turns, straightened it up, and made it shorter. And then the final change that's on the map is after the finish line, the straightaway doesn't quite go all the way down to the start. It makes a 180 a little bit earlier and then heads right into the first corner. And as far as the map goes, those are all the changes, but stay tuned till race day. You never know what you're going to see. And finally, it's time for the track preview for my 2023 GoPro footage from my Matty B Concussion Nationals. To start the lap, we got a little finish line. Scrub it if you're a normal person, or launch it to that next landing if you're Deegan. Then you had a wall jump single and had to get the power to the ground, past the mechanics area into this first turn sweeper. But this section's different now. That wall jump might not even be there. Should just be a tight 180 to the right, and it'll spit you right back into the first corner. Not sure if I'm thrilled about that change or not, but everybody's got to bark it. Then you're into the first corner, a 180 to the left, and then this section has been changed since I've ridden here as well. It kind of bends off to the right and heads into a split lane, inside-outside option, and then you head into this straightaway, another single, and then you head into the woods. I don't have any GoPro footage through this section. They didn't run it in 2023, but this is a pretty cool addition to the track. It kind of reminds me of old school Troy, Ohio. Back into the trees, it's a little tighter and tons of shadows, but then you got a couple of S-turns on the way out, and then you head back into Godzilla. And this section is Gnarls Barkley, straight up and down, massive tabletop, and it might have even been proven to be too Gnarls Barkley because I think they've changed it. I don't think you jump at the top. I think you just head to the top, U-turn at the top, and then head straight down. No sends. But then at the bottom of this hill, ruts everywhere, more lines than a college frat house, a little check single to slow you down, a 90 to the left, and then one of the biggest, most fun jumps on the track, huge floater tabletop. Land and stay WFO or you're getting smoked into this tiny little step up into a tight left, pretty technical actually, and then back down the hill, hard onto the binders into a 90 to the right, a little rise over the single, inside outside option national, another 90 right into this ski jump, turning triple, a total blind national, and then the top guys will hit that little roller and jump over the big one. And then this section back here is GMO. It's been modified. None of these jumps will be in the contract, just a little bit of a bend to the right, a set of rollers, and then a little dogleg left-right into the finish line section. So none of these S-turns are any longer part of the track, and if I had to guess, they probably wanted to open up some more room for fans. Motocross of Nations is a highly sought-after national, and it'll be packed. But after the rollers, you'll do a 90 to the left, which will put you into the final corner right before the finish line. A very technical little double out of the corner, which I almost biffed it on, and that's a lap around the Ironman National. And last, but certainly not least, the Prediction National, starting with the 250 class. For the win, I'm going to go Hayden Deegan. I'll be honest with you guys, I was really up in the air between he and Joe Shimoda, as Sushi has been full-blown wasabi all season. But even though they said it was fake news, something tells me that Deegan wants to wrap this thing up early and surprise everybody by racing the 450 at Budds Creek. Then in the 3 spot, I'm going to go Levi Kitchen. I think he nabs the final spot on the podium, as he always seems to be pretty good at Ironman. Then in the 450 class, I hate to be boring, but I gotta pick Jet Lawrence for the win. Hate if you got to. I never said I was going out on a limb. I just don't think anybody's gonna beat him. Although I say that, Sexton put the wood to him at Washougal, but I think that was Jet's worst track of the season, and I do think Chase is gonna put a serious fight to him and get in the 2 spot, but I just think the 18 is gonna prevail at the end of the day. And then in the 3 spot, I'm gonna go with the other Lawrence, Jet's brother, Hunter. Dude has been super good all season, and really, how awesome would it be to see a Jet Lawrence, Chase Sexton, and Hunter Lawrence 3-way battle for the win? And who am I kidding? How am I going to leave ET Beast Mode out of that? Give us a 4-way battle for the win. Come on, Moto Gods. You know we want to see it. But that's all I got for you guys for today's video. Really appreciate y'all tuning in, and as always, let me know in the comments what you think about my takes, if you agree, if you disagree, if I'm a cooked unit, or anything in between. We're here for all of it. You won't hurt my feelings, so send it my way. But thank y'all again, and I'll catch you guys next time.